Hey folks, Twisted Christian Julius here. I want to kind of talk about 2020 and some of the things that just kind of going back and finding some articles on my timeline when I used to be on Facebook a whole lot and I used to do a lot of posting. But this, where we are right now, folks, I do believe a lot of it is by design. When I go back and I start doing some of the research and some of the things that they were trying, and now I'm looking at the digital currency and how everything is going to be traceable. It's not a good system. They're talking about this great reset, right? And I'm going to play a video, right? And it's what they were planning on doing. Now, whether or not they were including the revaluation, any type of revaluations, but there's something going on. And I look here, I look at my timeline here, and I said, and this is June 20th of 2016, and I said, 2020 is the year, the beginning of a cashless society. India, UK, Japan, Ukraine, China, Norway, Korea, Rwanda, Sweden, etc. All these articles from different countries. Look for 2020, whether you like it or not, it's coming. Now we just have to wait for politicians in the U.S. start screaming cashless by 2020. Okay? Now they're talking about the Great Reset. Right? Everything's traceable. When you click on these different articles, like this one about Japan, and it was that fingerprint biometrics that could be used to pay for services throughout all of Japan by 2020. They were going to depend on the Olympics to get this thing going. And then, of course, now you know what's happened with that. And then I have another one, cashless Britain. Mobile payments are transforming our society. Cash could be obsolete in the UK by 2020. And this is a repeat of all these different articles pushing towards 2020. And look where we're at now, right? And now I'm going to play this video, and you're going to hear the Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada talk about the reset and whether or not if God is going to use that as the reset. And then, I don't really think that we're going to actually get rid of cash. And that's one of the different things, even though that they're trying to, cash is a very important part of our society. And it gives assurance. Or for people who don't use cash, it does give security, even if you don't use it, that you can go to the bank if you need to pull out money out, and that you could give it to somebody, or you could go purchase something. But in the system that they were trying to set up, see, the whole thing is the current president of the United States, he threw a monkey wrench in all their plans. Now, could you imagine if Hillary was in there? I think we are almost at a why now moment. And this why now moment, it's more of like a why now alert, an RV alert. And it's not to say that it's going to happen. I'm just saying with everything that's going on, right? And if you listen to my last video about the whole why now, this thing could come in any time. It could come from anywhere. It could come in a way that we don't expect, right? And I know a lot of people, wonder if Judy Shelton is the key. It may or may not be. But there's a lot of things that are still yet that have to happen. Iraq is financially in peril. So that's why I say this is getting to a point where, we're seeing things where things seem at their worst, and a why now? Yeah, for the Iraqis and for the world. Because folks, you're getting ready to, you folks have heard all since the media had called Biden the winner. Right? You've seen their agenda pop out, right? And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to say this. To get to their agenda, all this had to happen by design. That's just my opinion. Okay, now this is a Kim Clement prophecy. You can get there you can just go to houseofdestiny.org/prophecy, or just go to their site, go to the about section. You can do the research. You can look this up, and many other things that are on their website, and keep up with what's going on right now. So really, I find some things shocking, right? And I just want you guys to listen. Daniel didn't know the extent and consequence of his spiritual prayer life until the angel came there and said, "For 21 days I have battled the demon, the prince of Persia." You've got to listen to this, because even when we're under a new covenant, we think that Jesus took care of all that. Yes, he did for you, but he still says fight. Fight for the good fight of faith. He speaks about spiritual warfare. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Something that is in the heavenlies, something that is over this nation right now, has to be pulled down, and it cannot be pulled down by Joe Biden. It cannot be pulled down by the President of the United States, and it cannot be pulled down by politicians. It can only be pulled down by the spiritual leaders that have set their hearts towards the kingdom, not towards failure, but towards the kingdom. And now we will pray whatever spiritual stronghold is over our nation, and it will come to an end, and I am one of those voices. Now, comes from January 19th of 2013. And so it's interesting that he says it cannot be pulled down by Joe Biden. But you know what? Because of his executive orders and everything that he's planning on doing, it's going to really it would do that. And so it's almost like it's for a moment, because I don't know what he was doing what Joe was doing or Mr. Biden was doing back in 2013 at that time. But it's interesting that this prophecy is in here. That Kim Clement is talking about the nation being pulled down, that it can't be pulled down by Joe Biden. Also, too, I do encourage you to read it from beginning to end when you do go to the website. But this is important, too. And this is, I think, where we are at right now. As I was praying this morning, the Spirit took me into a heavenly place, and I began to realize that there was a stronghold that was joining the Pythos spirit, and now at this very hour, that spiritual force. Now remember, the angel spoke to Daniel about a prince of Persia and a prince of Greece and different princes, the ruling powers, not ruling now, but the powers that are at war with the people of God, and Israel specifically, are active at this very moment in what we are doing. They have planned for the downfall of the U.S. economy. They have planned for the closing of nonprofit companies and charitable organizations. They have planned for your downfall, for you to lose your money. This is not about liberal, conservative, or whatever. It's not about that. Their plan is to destroy and suffocate the very life out of you. That's their plan. They are active right now. What are we doing about it? What is our responsibility? What is it that we are supposed to do to bring an end to this? Kim says we need to vote. Yes, vote. But look what just happened. Do whatever you need to do. Make your voice known. But I'm telling you right now, the greatest power that you have and the key you have is to find out what is happening in the spirit and begin to pray against that and declare that you are totally inoperable and you cannot operate in the presence of the people of the living God, and you cannot operate in the presence of the blood of Christ that speaks better things than that of Abel. And right now, for a lot of people, they feel suffocated. They're on lockdown. There's just a lot of issues concerning everything that's going on with the unknown, with the virus and everything. And you have the stock markets, and people are, everything that's going on with the stock markets. People are hundreds of thousands of people every week are losing their jobs, right? And businesses are closing. And now they're even doing more lockdowns. They're trying to suffocate. They're trying to suffocate this nation. They're trying to cripple this nation with what they're doing. When I saw those posts about 2020 and what they were going to do, and then the video with Trudeau that I showed you, and I'm looking at this prophecy, and we are in a moment where this country is being suffocated, and they are trying to bring us down. Everybody's losing their jobs. People can't pay their rent. People are going to be getting evicted. You get the stock market and all the various aspects of the stock market that are having troubles and issues. The bond market, just all the job losses and everything. All these people on unemployment, and there's just a lot of chaos with the election. I think we are at that point where this country financially, economically is being suffocated. And that's what a lot of these countries that are our enemies, that's what they want. And that's what they're trying to do. And we've allowed our politicians to allow this to happen. And so that's why I say we're at this point right now, and even looking at Iraq, and we know everything that's going on with Iraq and their finances and what has happened to their reserves. They have lost a lot. So they are in a point where they're going to have to do something. So who knows as far as any type of evaluation? I'm just saying that we could be in a moment, okay? And we've had climaxes before, and there's no date, and there's no rate because we don't know when this thing is going to happen. And I can only speculate and observe and try to digest the information and just give you my thoughts. That's all I'm doing. I could be 100% wrong, but with everything that's going on with Iraq and their reserves, they don't know where they're going to get their money. The whole world is in lockdown, right? Oil is still has not got back up to where it used to be. So what's going to happen? Are we in that moment where there's a break in the Middle East? And does it even matter as far as the whole thing with the presidency? And with everything that's going on, and like I said, people won't expect it when it does happen. And for us, for dinar holders, I expect it to happen anytime. I mean, I don't think about it every single day. I don't wake up checking the news, but there's expectation that, hey, this could happen anytime. And does it really matter if you have not purchased all the dinars that you want? Then you don't want it to come, right? Because you might be buying dinars every month or every 2 weeks, and you're trying to get to a certain point. You don't want it to come. There's a lot of you who want it to come. You've done purchasing dinar. And the reason why I, see what's going on, I know what's going to happen, but I also want to be able to take advantage. If we have any kind of edge over anybody, it's just like in the trading game. If we have an edge over anybody else, an hour or 2 hours, if we have any kind of edge, that any kind of indication that something's coming, I want to be ready for that because it's all about flipping the dinar. But right now, folks, the United States is being suffocated, and a lot of places in the world are suffering too. They're suffocating too as well, and they're continuing to put places on lockdown, and really, it's gutting the middle of America. The middle of America is small business. Now, the small business is not necessarily always a mom and pop business. You have, small businesses that are groceries. You have grocery store chains. They're not as big as Walmart. Maybe they're regional, but a lot of those businesses are closing down. A lot of those type businesses, individual ownerships of restaurants, chains, and just a lot of things, different things are happening. And this is what they planned. And that's why it's so important that, yes, we do pray. And I pray that, I know that prophetically, right now, I'm just waiting to see, right now, we're just waiting for things to turn around because things look really dark right now. And I am waiting for that moment when things turn around. And in that whole process, is any of these things, or is the dinar going to take off, or something else going to happen around this point? Are we still looking at the next elections? Like this guy Kadimi? Like, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but I don't know what's going on with him, but I don't have a very good feeling about the direction to where he's taking Iraq. And we have elections coming up in Iraq, in about 4, 5, 6 months. And, who knows? We may go out that far. And I hope that it wouldn't. But I don't want to give anybody any kind of expectations like we're going to wake up tomorrow and this is going to happen. It's just going to be at a point when things seem at their worst. And for a lot of people right now, it is. We haven't seen the total effects of the suffocation of the American economy yet. We really haven't seen that yet. There are so many bubbles that are getting ready to burst. And hopefully, it's all going to lead to the reset. And this whole thing with these government resets, with their kind of reset, it's kind of weird that this is all coming now, right? It's all this whole thing about the Great Reset, the reset they want to do. They've been kind of hinting at it, here and there over the last couple years, but the rhetoric has really the rhetoric of that has really changed a whole lot. And one thing is that if they really put us down, if they really put this economy down for 4 to 6 weeks, as they're talking about doing, it will literally suffocate this nation. But I will say this, that whatever this great reset they're planning, this could be a situation where God turns it around to our good. It could be that type of situation. So anyways, folks, just like I said, as far as all the years that I've been in this, I think we're closer, in my opinion, than we are now than we ever have been. I think there have been climaxes. I think there have been moments that could have happened. But if we don't see anything within the next few months, I really think that this thing could really go out until the next Prime Minister of Iraq, whoever that person is. And that's just the kind of time frame I'm looking at. But right now, I do look that this thing could happen at any time. And with everything that's going on with the elections, there's a lot of people scared. There's a lot of people in fear. And we are blessed to know that we are in a time period where it's not time yet for that to happen. It's not time before things really get bad and really get ugly. So anyways, folks, I thank you for listening. Please be safe. Give a like, give a share, give a comment. God bless. And with that being said, Twisted Christian out.